Mount Fuji, Japan's iconic peak, is admired for its beauty but feared for its dangers. Beyond breathtaking views, it hides darker side stories of brutal deaths. From sudden falls and rock slides to freezing blizzards, the mountain has claimed countless lives, turning adventure into tragedy for many unprepared climbers. Climbing Mount Fuji sounds like the ultimate bucket list adventure, the kind of thing you tell your friends about for years, complete with selfies at sunrise and dramatic clouds rolling beneath your feet. But beneath the postcards and Instagram shots, Fuji hides a pretty grim secret. It is not just Japan's most iconic mountain. It is also a place where nature reminds people who are really in charge. One of the most heartbreaking examples happened when a 29-year-old Russian climber named Anna Dubrovina tragically lost her life near the summit after being struck by a falling rock. Imagine it. You have powered through the grueling ascent, lungs burning, legs aching, your mind locked on that magical moment of standing at the top, and then out of nowhere, a rogue rock the size of a football comes crashing down like nature's very own wrecking ball. That is what makes Fuji so dangerous. It is not just the thin air, the brutal weather shifts, or the crowds of climbers jostling for space. It is the mountain itself, literally crumbling under your boots. Even small rocks, loosened by someone's step hundreds of meters higher, can gather deadly momentum. And unlike in the movies, there is no heroic dodge move that saves the day. It is pure bad luck mixed with unforgiving physics. Anna's accident shook climbers and officials alike, because if it can happen just a few hundred meters from the summit, it can happen anywhere up there. In response, authorities actually roped off parts of the summit area, like the stone wall near the crater's shrine, because everyone suddenly realized that even spots thought to be safe zones were basically potential bowling alleys for falling rocks. What makes the story sting even more is that so many climbers, especially tourists, underestimate the risks. A lot of people hit Fuji with little more than sneakers, a jacket, and some bottled water, not realizing that helmets can be as essential as hiking poles. Sure, wearing a helmet might ruin your aesthetic for that perfect summit photo, but it beats having a rock ruin your entire existence. And it is not like Anna was reckless. She was experienced in climbing with her husband, which proves this was not some rookie mistake, but a sobering reminder that even careful mountaineers are not immune to Fuji's hazards. The tragedy also sparked bigger conversations in Japan about climbing safety, because every year tens of thousands head up during the official season, often lulled into thinking Fuji is a casual hike rather than a serious alpine challenge. Between falling rocks, altitude sickness, exhaustion, and unpredictable weather that can flip from sunny to blizzard in minutes, Fuji is less a leisurely walk up a national icon and more a volcano with a grudge. The mountain does not care if you are a seasoned climber or just a tourist with a bucket list. If conditions line up wrong, accidents can strike with merciless speed. Still, what keeps people coming back is that Fuji is breathtakingly beautiful, a place that feels otherworldly, spiritual, and larger than life. For Anna Dubrovina, that dream turned into a nightmare, and her story is now part of Fuji's darker legacy, a tale that is retold not to scare people away, but to remind them that respect for nature is non-negotiable. It is sobering, but it is also a call to take climbing seriously. Bring proper gear, plan smartly, and never forget that even as Fuji gives climbers unforgettable views and life-changing moments, it also demands humility, because at the end of the day, the mountain always wins. Mount Fuji has always been more than just a mountain. It is a national symbol, a cultural icon, and a natural wonder that draws hundreds of thousands of climbers each year. But beneath its postcard beauty lies an unforgiving reality. The mountain can be deadly, especially outside the carefully managed climbing season. In late June 2024, just days before the official season was set to begin, tragedy struck when 4 climbers lost their lives on its slopes. The incident sent shockwaves through both the mountaineering community and the general public, serving as a reminder that even familiar landscapes can turn hostile when underestimated. The most widely reported case was that of Keita Kurakami, a 38-year-old professional climber admired for his skill and bold ascents. Kurakami was no novice. He had made a name for himself in Japan and internationally for tackling difficult routes and inspiring others with his passion for the sport. Yet, on June 26th, while ascending the Yoshida Trail, he collapsed around the 8th station, high enough that the air was thin and the conditions harsh. Despite rescue efforts and being rushed to a hospital, he passed away. For many, his death was shocking, not only because of his reputation but also because it underscored how unpredictable the mountain can be, even for those with years of experience. Reports noted that Kurakami had a history of heart trouble, and it is believed that underlying health issues played a role. On the same day, authorities discovered 3 more bodies near Mount Fuji's crater in separate locations. Their identities were not immediately released, and it remains uncertain whether they were climbing together or individually. What was clear, however, is that none of them had the benefit of open huts, staffed rescue facilities, or the safety measures that come into place when the season officially begins on July 1st. These individuals had ventured into Fuji's upper reaches when the mountain was at its most dangerous, with trails still closed, weather unstable, and rescue operations limited. Japanese officials were quick to warn the public once again about the hazards of off-season climbs. Each year, some enthusiasts ignore the rules, eager to avoid the summer crowds or to test their endurance in harsher conditions. But June 2024 demonstrated the risks in the starkest possible way. The crater area, where 3 of the bodies were recovered, is treacherous even in midsummer. Snow and ice can linger, the winds are fierce, and a single misstep can prove fatal. Add the lack of medical and logistical support in the off-season, and the odds of survival drop significantly if something goes wrong. Kurakami's passing added a particularly tragic dimension because it symbolized that expertise does not make anyone invincible. For fellow climbers, it was a sobering wake-up call. Social media and climbing forums are filled with tributes, with many reflecting on how easily ambition, passion, or the simple desire to reach the summit can blind even seasoned climbers to very real dangers. His death, coupled with the 3 others, turned what was supposed to be the exciting build-up to Fuji's 2024 season into a nationwide discussion about safety, responsibility, and respect for nature. In the end, Mount Fuji stood silent and unmoved. It will continue to rise 3,776 meters above Japan, attracting dreamers, adventurers, and thrill-seekers. But the June 2024 incident remains etched in memory as a grim reminder. Fuji may be majestic and inspiring, but it demands caution. The mountain does not bend to human pride, preparation, or even expertise. Every step upward must be taken with humility, because on Fuji, beauty and danger are 2 sides of the same slope. In October 2019, Japanese live streamer Tetsushi Ohara, known online as Tetsu, embarked on a climb up Mount Fuji, Japan's tallest and most iconic peak. Unlike most climbers who attempt Fuji during the official summer season when conditions are relatively safe, Shiohara chose late October, a time when the mountain is far more treacherous. Off-season climbing is strongly discouraged because the trails are closed, huts are locked, and snow and ice cover the paths. It is a climb that requires specialized gear, training, and careful planning. Unfortunately, Shiohara carried little more than his phone and streaming equipment, leaving him exposed to the harsh environment. He live-streamed his ascent on the Japanese video platform Nico Nico, and his broadcast initially showed a man determined but visibly struggling. Viewers could hear him comment on the freezing cold, his numb fingers, and the slippery snow beneath his feet. While he joked at times, his fatigue and discomfort were clear. His audience, watching in real time, expressed both encouragement and concern, urging him to be careful or even turn back. Yet Shiohara pressed on, despite the worsening conditions. As he neared the summit, the climb became increasingly dangerous. The livestream captured his final moments as a steep, icy slope came into view while he remarked on the treacherous footing. Then, suddenly, he slipped. The camera jolted, snow blurred across the screen, and the sound of him sliding uncontrollably down the mountain filled the broadcast. Moments later, the livestream cut out. It was a chilling and abrupt end to what had begun as an adventurous broadcast. Alarmed viewers quickly notified authorities, who launched a search and rescue operation. The next day, rescuers discovered a body near the 7th station of Mount Fuji at around 3,000 meters in altitude. It was believed to be Shiohara, though reports initially stopped short of immediate confirmation. The discovery brought a tragic close to a story that had unfolded leave before an online audience. The incident sparked widespread discussion in Japan and internationally. Climbing experts and authorities emphasized the dangers of attempting Mount Fuji outside of the official season, pointing out that Shiohara had been ill-prepared for the conditions. Proper winter climbing requires crampons, ice axes, insulated clothing, and extensive mountaineering experience. Attempting such a climb with inadequate gear while simultaneously distracted by live streaming dramatically increased the risk of disaster. There was also broader reflection on the culture of live streaming itself. Some observers questioned whether the pursuit of content and online attention can push individuals into unnecessary risks. Others were struck by the unsettling reality of watching someone's final moments unfold in real time. A reminder of how technology has blurred the boundary between private tragedy and public spectacle. Reports also surfaced suggesting that Shiohara had previously battled serious illness, possibly stage 4 cancer, though this was never officially confirmed. This detail, if true, painted his climb in a more complex light, less as a reckless stunt and more as a deeply personal journey that ended in tragedy. Ultimately, the story of Tetsu Shiohara is a sobering reminder of both the beauty and the danger of mountains like Fuji. The mountain has always demanded respect, preparation, and humility from those who attempt it. Nature does not bend to human ambition or digital audiences. It remains unforgiving to those who underestimate it. Shiohara's live stream, watched by many, ended not as a tale of triumph, but as a cautionary reminder of the fine line between adventure and risk. His story continues to echo as both a tragedy and a lesson about the responsibilities that come with modern forms of storytelling. In December 1992, Mount Fuji decided to remind everyone why winter climbing is not for the faint-hearted. The iconic volcano may look calm and majestic from a distance, but up close in the middle of winter, it turns into an icy death trap. That year, a group of climbers attempted a winter ascent, and what started as a bold adventure soon spiraled into one of the most infamous accidents in Fuji's history. The climbers were roped together, which was supposed to make them safer. The logic is simple. If one person slips, the others can hold them steady. But in reality, on an unforgiving sheet of ice, that same rope can become a curse. When one climber lost footing, the icy slope turned their stumble into a full-blown chain reaction. Within moments, the group was dragged down together in what has since been described as a mass fall. It was brutal, fast, and unstoppable. The winds were howling, the slope was unforgiving, and the climbers had no chance of recovering once momentum took over. Several lives were lost that day, and the tragedy instantly etched itself into Japan's mountain lore. The accident became a kind of cautionary tale for climbers everywhere. In the years since, the 1992 fall has been reconstructed in animated safety videos shown on Japanese television and later found online. These reconstructions might look simple, even cartoonish, but the story they tell is chilling. They highlight how easily a small slip can snowball into disaster when conditions are extreme and preparation falls short. Fuji in December is nothing like the Fuji of summer, when tourists hike up in sneakers and snap selfies at the summit. Winter, Fuji is a different beast with icy ridges, high winds, and temperatures that cut like knives. In those conditions, even the most experienced climbers tread carefully. The 1992 group, unfortunately, was not prepared for what they were up against. Reports suggest that equipment was lacking, footing was unstable, and the decision to climb roped together on slick ice left no room for error. Once the fall began, it was no longer a climb, but a helpless slide toward tragedy. Looking back, the 1992 accident has been dissected endlessly in safety lectures, mountaineering clubs, and educational programs. The key takeaway is always the same. Winter mountaineering is about respect for the mountain. The rope, that was meant to symbolize teamwork, became a cruel reminder that sometimes the very tools we trust can betray us under the wrong circumstances. Climbers today are taught to keep spacing, check conditions religiously, and know when to turn back. The animated videos that retell the fall might seem dramatic, but they serve a real purpose. They strip away the romanticism of climbing and lay bare the consequences of misjudging Fuji's winter temperament. For Japan, the story remains a haunting example of how easily human ambition can clash with nature's indifference. What makes this tragedy stand out even decades later is how vividly it has been remembered. Many mountain accidents fade into statistics, but the 1992 fall stuck because it showed a group dynamic unraveling in real time. One slip, one gust of wind, one misstep, those were all it took to drag multiple lives down the icy slope. There is a kind of grim poetry to it. The rope meant for unity, binding them together in disaster. The fact that the accident has been animated and reanalyzed repeatedly keeps it alive in public memory, ensuring that new generations of climbers think twice before underestimating Winter Fuji. While tragic, the legacy of 1992 is not just about loss, it is also about awareness. It reminds climbers that mountains are not conquered, they are respected. And for anyone daring to face Fuji in the grip of December, that lesson might very well be the difference between a successful climb and becoming part of the mountain's long, chilling history. Mount Fuji is often admired as Japan's majestic symbol of beauty and culture. But in winter, it transforms into something far more unforgiving. The mountain's icy slopes, powerful winds, and unpredictable weather turn every step into a potential mistake with devastating consequences. In December 2013, a group of climbers experienced this danger firsthand in what became one of the most talked about incidents on Fuji in recent years. A fatal winter fall that not only led to tragedy, but also sparked a heated debate about rescue operations and legal responsibility. The climbers, part of an experienced mountaineering group, were practicing winter techniques on the Gotemba route. Conditions were harsh. Snow and ice made the ground treacherous, and the cold was biting. At some point during their ascent, they slipped. Because they were roped together, what might have been a single fall cascaded into a collective disaster. The climbers slid down hundreds of meters, essentially helpless against gravity and ice. Rescue teams were quickly dispatched, braving the elements to locate and extract them. 2 climbers were found in critical condition, essentially without signs of life, while others survived and were evacuated by helicopter. The physical toll was severe, but what came afterward pushed this accident into public and legal discourse. Normally, accidents on Fuji are reported as cautionary tales, reminders of the risks of climbing outside the official season and the need for adequate preparation. This incident, however, unfolded differently. The rescue operation itself was called into question. Critics argued that the climbers should not have been attempting such a dangerous climb in December at all, and that their decisions had unnecessarily endangered not just themselves, but also the rescuers tasked with saving them. Others turned their attention to the conduct of the rescue. Were the methods appropriate? Were risks miscalculated? Should responsibility extend beyond the climbers and include the rescuers or organizations involved? What began as a tragic accident soon entered the realm of legal examination, with courts later considering aspects of how the operation was managed. The controversy highlighted a broader issue that extends well beyond this single incident: the balance between individual freedom to climb and societal responsibility when things go wrong. Mount Fuji in winter is not closed, but it is widely understood to be hazardous, with conditions that demand specialized equipment and advanced experience. Yet accidents still occur regularly. Every time rescuers are called in, they put their own lives at risk, and the cost of such operations can be significant. In the 2013 case, these concerns were amplified, as it seemed the decisions of both the climbers and rescuers carried consequences that could not be ignored. The legal scrutiny served as a stark reminder that climbing accidents are not only matters of personal tragedy, but also of public responsibility and systemic reflection. In the end, the December 2013 fall on Mount Fuji stands as more than just another accident in the long list of tragedies on Japan's highest peak. It is remembered as an event that forced people to reconsider how rescue operations should be conducted, who bears responsibility when danger escalates, and how society can better manage the delicate balance between respecting human determination and ensuring safety. The mountain itself remains indifferent, a towering presence of snow and rock, but the discussions that followed this accident continue to shape the way Japan views winter climbing, rescue ethics, and legal accountability on its most iconic summit.